Lucas, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's always a pleasure spending some time with you. So thank you. I'm looking forward to this. That is correct. Been working with Ben almost a decade, and now I currently lead the team with my partner, Anthony Zapata. Yeah. Yeah, this is fun, Lucas. I love sharing the story because I think it's a story that people can resonate with of coming from something completely different. My previous career was a DJ. Yes, a disc jockey. I played music. I started as a DJ in college. I went through college with a degree in environmental education. During that time, I was DJing. And when I graduated, my DJ business had picked up pretty significantly. I built a group of DJs that then turned into artist and tour management. Did that for a long time until I had a son who is now 11. And that was really the catalyst for the change of careers. That's right. I grew up in Sonoma, California, and there was a very heavy presence of reggae and Caribbean music. And I grew up listening to it. I've loved it my whole life. And that was what really I gravitated towards in high school and then throughout. And I just have this really deep love for for reggae music and Caribbean culture. That's a good question. I think I had some really pivotal people in my life that I think saw something in me that I didn't see at the time. And when the career change became necessary, I had a good friend that was also a reggae DJ, my good friend Luis Munoz. He was a reggae DJ. He had gotten into real estate a few years before I had, and my aunt and uncle were in real estate in California. I always joke too, Lucas, that my father was a car salesman. My mother owns a promotional business. So sales has flown in my blood since birth. Yeah, and so a couple people had just said, "Hey, you know what? You might be good at real estate. You should give it a shot." And I guess I followed what they said. And it was at a time where DJing was starting to change. It was not as busy as it used to be. I was not having as much fun as I used to, and I knew a change was due. And I guess I followed some signs from the universe, and they pointed me in this direction of real estate. That's a good story. I've been in Bellingham. I moved here. So I'm originally born and raised in Sonoma, California. After high school, I moved to Seattle. I was there for about 5 years before I came to Bellingham. And then, funny enough, and this might be a common thread, a bartender friend of mine that used to bartend when I would DJ, Ian Steger, he had recently joined Ben's team. And I had gotten licensed about 6 months later. I was actually ready and go to work at another brokerage. And my friend Ian said, "Hey, you know what? I just joined this team. Why don't you come check us out before you go over there?" And I said, "I don't know any different. Why not?" And I walked in. Honestly, Lucas, I did not even know who Ben Kinney was. Didn't know who Julene was, but I really liked the energy here. It was very different from the other places. It was more upbeat. It was more my pace. And I said, "You know what? I kind of like it here." And I looked at Julene and said, "Here's the bullpen where people sit. And, if you're here long enough, you can get a window." And I said, "Can I just take that window seat?" And I just kind of jumped all in, man. Well, I can't tell that story without telling what happened, right? So it's a good story, but it's a sad story. And sometimes people ask me, like, "What did you do in your first year?" And I tell them, "Lucas, I don't know if you want to know because you're not going to like the answer." So I started May of 2015, right? And at the time, I was still DJing. My son's mother she owned a salon at the time. So she would work during the day. I would stay home with our son. Then I would go DJ at night and she would come home. Started in May of 2015. And the month after I started, my mother in law, she was the one that was going to be watching our son while I was going to the office because now neither of us working during the day. In June, 1 month after I started, she got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Totally healthy woman, completely out of nowhere. They gave her a couple months to live, and it just completely threw us for a loop. And I, 1 month, right? Like I was here, not even a month, and then that happened, and it completely changed things. It completely changed our relationship. And unfortunately, just a couple months later, she passed away. And during that time, I was still DJing. And then in August, Lucas, I don't know if you've heard this part, but I was DJing. I did a wedding. I was working all week, every week, and then I would DJ on the weekends. And I was just going really hard. And I pushed too hard, and I fell asleep actually driving home DJing on August 9th. So started in May. June, mother-in-law was diagnosed. August, I fell asleep driving. I actually showed homes on a bike for 3 weeks. I didn't have a car. Uh, During that time, I was really failing. I wasn't doing what I should have been doing as a parent and as a husband. And my wife at the time, Bentley's mom, decided, you know what, this isn't working. We're going to split up. So then I broke up with my wife, which then led to a divorce. And then my dad got diagnosed with cancer, and he passed away. All that happened in the first year, right? And those were very challenging times. But what that did was it forced me to stay here in the office. I took out all my grief onto real estate. Instead of going home and crying, I would just stay here in the office. I would go to Julene. I say, "What else can I do? You got to keep me busy because if I'm not, I'm going to go home and I'm going to cry." And fortunately, that turned into a lot of phone calls, a lot of open houses. A month or two into it, Ben kind of saw me here and goes, "Who's this guy? Why is he here so much?" And they gave me everything I needed. And when I was crying here in the office, they were here for me, man, from day one. They must have seen something that I didn't see because they believed in me, and I forever owe them that, Lucas. And so they just said, "Follow this plan." They said, "Follow this plan," and I could take direction. And to be honest, I was so broken, I needed help. I didn't know what else to do. I said, "All right, I'll follow this plan. It must be working for somebody. Let me follow this plan. Let me follow it. Let me follow it." And in November, I told Jolene, I said, "I don't know if I can do this." And she said, "Look, Ryan, I think you can. Why don't you take some time off, come back when you're ready?" I said, "All right." I went home. I took the weekend off because I thought, what am I going to do? Take a week off? Take a month off? No, I said, all right, I'm going to give myself the weekend to really just cry. And I came back on Monday in November, and I just doubled down and tripled down. And next thing I knew, things started to work. And in February, I had like 14 pendings. And I'm going, and I didn't know any different. Like I thought this is cool, but like this must be normal. And I just kept going, kept going, kept going. And in my first year, I sold 45 homes. And people say, "How do you do it?" I said, "Well, life was really hard, and I just followed this plan that Ben and Jolene gave me. Instead of going home and crying, I stayed here in the office." So if you want to be successful, you don't have to have all that bad stuff that happened to you. But if you can focus on this plan, if you can follow these systems and these models, look, if a broken up DJ can do it, anybody can do it. So that was the first year, and then I realized I think I can do this, Lucas. I think I figured something out here. Let me just keep going, doubling down, asking Ben what else I can do, asking Ben who else I can connect with, where else can I go, who else can I learn from. And that then I did like 40 something homes the next year. Then they said, "Hey, you're going to burn out," which I did. So then they helped me find some help, which 7 years later I still have my business partner Ryan Randall. He started as an assistant, then he grew up into a buyer's agent. Now he's taking listings. And gosh, this weekend I get to go be a part of his wedding. So here we are, 9 years later. I'm still doing what I've always done, and I love it, man. I'm like you, like I really love this career. I love what we're able to do, and I'm fortunate enough to now have conversations with people like you and keep learning, keep showing up, keep giving back. Right. Well, it's hard. It's challenging, and I love the challenge. I love the fact that it's different every day. It's interesting, right? It's different every day, but it's also the exact same every day. You show up, you make your calls, you connect with people, but every situation is different. I think as I grow as a person and I become different, the opportunities are different to connect with people, whether that's helping somebody with their real estate plans or helping somebody get into real estate. I think I'm like you in that there's so many opportunities to help, to connect with people, and to do good. And it's bringing a positive energy. Plus, let's not forget, it's helping people build generational wealth. It's absolutely changed my life, which has changed my son's life and my friends and family's life. And now it's my duty. Ben and Jeline gave me this opportunity. Now it's my duty to pass this on. And one thing I learned during that time was anytime we want something really big in life, whether that's a career change or a relationship change, or if we want something really big in life, I've found that the universe is going to test us. And when we want a big career change, for example, when I wanted to get into real estate, the universe just kept saying to me, "You sure, Ryan? Are you sure you want this? Are you sure you're going to do this? Are you sure? Well, let me throw this at you. Let me throw this at you. Let me make sure you really want it." And thankfully, I did. Thankfully, I got through that. And we can all look at that. You can be a victim or a victor. And I wasn't going to be a victim anymore, man. That's right. Exactly. Are you really committed to it? And if you are, I'll tell you what, I'll reward you. But you got to get through these trials. It's the hero's journey. You got to get through these trials. You got to make sure you really want it. The harder you got to work to get it, the better it's going to be. Couple ways. First of all, there's a saying, right? This too shall pass. Yeah, this too shall pass. So I always know that. I know that, hey, you know what? If I woke up this morning, Lucas, I should be grateful because some people didn't wake up this morning and I get another shot at life. And this is going to pass. I was just thinking about this from some hard times from a couple years ago. And I went yesterday to my mom, I went, "Do you remember how depressed I was and how hard those couple months were?" And right now, it's like a flash. Like this, that was just a flash. And so I look at moments like that. Plus, I think if it doesn't kill me, it's going to what? It's going to make me stronger. I'll rise to the occasion. I'm open for the challenge. And at the end of everything, what's the saying? The darkest nights bring the brightest stars. What's the good in this? What good can come from this? I'll be stronger coming through this, so let me get through it because this too shall pass. I remind myself first of all that it's going to be okay, and I know that it is going to be okay, and I know. So I guess the first thought is the mental thought. You know what? This is hard, but it's going to be okay, and I'm going to get through this. Um, but I guess if I'm being honest, it's going to start with my mental wellness, which is going to start with my physical wellness. I do believe that health and wellness is the foundation of our pyramid of life. It's really, it's really hard to enjoy a couple million bucks in the bank or a couple $1 billion in the bank if you're sick. Somebody said that. I think Jesse Itzler. He's like, if you got $1 billion in the bank, but you got a sore throat, all you're thinking about is that that scratchy throat. So for me, I know that if I get up early and I get my exercise in, I get my water in, I get my meditation and my journaling in, I might wake up in a bad mood. I might wake up knowing some hard times are coming, but it's very hard to stay in a negative space after those things. So I guess step one, start with our mental health and wellness. Form that unbreakable mindset, that unbreakable body, that unbreakable form of, life's going to throw these at me, but nothing will break me. And I do that. It's because it's super uncomfortable, man. It's really uncomfortable to post a workout video online. Well, and that's why I do it because now I've connected with you because of that. right? I do it because it made me uncomfortable. So step one, I got uncomfortable, which is a good thing to just go on with my day. But now I've been doing this for like 2 years. I've proven to myself that I'm consistent, first of all. Second of all, it became kind of fun. I get to pick the music every day. I get to kind of, but the important part is that I connect with people. So it builds how I get people like you or people that come up, they say, hey, I saw your video. Hey, and now we have this connection. So it's really giving me this cool connection, but it's also holding me accountable. I can't be the guy that's working out in the morning and posting that on Instagram and not staying healthy and well. Plus, I do this place for wellness call. So I found, man, I got to surround myself, not just like an accountability partner. I need an accountability army or I'm going to slip. That's right. And so I keep doing them and it's become this fun thing. So I got these communities. And again, like we need this army of accountability, whether it's health and wellness or making our calls or just holding true to what we want to do in life. If we want to grow, we got to have people around us that are going to push us and inspire us. And I found by putting out content like that, I'm kind of pulling people into my world that are doing similar stuff. I always knew that I was a born leader, Lucas. I think you're the same. That's why I offered to do this call with you because I said, hey, if I can spend some time with another leader, sign me up. There's no question I'm going to do it. I came from an education background, so I found myself teaching, right? Then I got to be a DJ. And in an odd way, I found myself teaching. I'm on stage, I'm conveying a message, I'm keeping a group together. I'm really introverted, man, but when you get me on stage or you get me in front of a group and I have a purpose and I know I can help, then I tend to shine. So I just knew, like, and I knew way too early, like, oh, look at me, I've sold 100 homes. I'm going to be a leader. Dude, like, sell 1,000, then really start talking. But I just had this idea, like it was the path that I wanted to do because when I got into real estate, it was let me just join a team, then I'll go build my own team. And Ben showed me really early on, like you could do that if you want, but you might not need to. You know, if my world keeps growing, then your world can keep growing. Here's kind of where I'm going. Here's where Jalene's going. Here's where we think you might fit in. And I thought, that's exactly where I want to fit in. But in order to do that, I got to become the leader that's going to take. And that's where that leadership journey started. And over these last 3, 5 years of developing as a leader, I always joke like I could sit in this office and sell 40, 50 homes a year and make pretty good money. It's not that hard, man. And I say that like with all just gratitude and grace that it's, but I can do that pretty easily. But the hard part is showing somebody how to do it. The hard part is finding somebody completely different than me on the personality spectrum and sitting with them. And what I have found is that is so dang hard. You know, you do this. It's freaking hard, man. And that's what's causing me to grow. And that's what's causing me to become a better human and a better father and a better son and a better friend. So I learned this a few years ago, man, was that sure, I make money when I sell homes. Yes, I make money when I lead my team. But the things that I learn and the value that I get are completely invaluable on my personal development growth through what I've learned in being in this leadership role. And it was a path that I just saw. It was a path that I saw. I had a vision. I said, I think I can do well at this. And hopefully I can do well enough that then I can show others how to do it. And if I can do that, I think I'm going to do okay. And that was kind of the plan. Some leadership lessons are first, I guess, number one, the word that screams in my face is empathy. We got to be empathetic leaders. I used to just say, Lucas, why can't you do it? I did it. Why can't you? If a broke DJ can do it, why can't you do it? But now I'm realizing everybody's got their reasons and we got to meet them where they're at. So be empathetic. Empathy is a word that really stands out to me. I think that word is powerful. And Jalene has given me the word grace. Have grace for others. We never know what people are going through. And if we don't ask, we're just going to seem like that jerk coach or boss. But if we can help them get through that, they're never going to forget that, just like Ben and Jeline did for me. And so be empathetic with your people, be caring with your people, be vulnerable with your people. My people know my struggles. They know these stories and these struggles, and I'm not afraid to say it because I'm not too good for that. You know, I have my battles and my struggles too, and they know that. And they'll know when I'm down, but the difference is I'm not going to stay down. They might know I had a hard day, but what they're going to see is Ryan had a hard day, but holy cow, he came right back and closed a couple deals. He did what he needed to do. He was there for his son. So be empathetic, be caring, be loving. I guess come from this place of contribution, come from a place of love. That's the bottom line. Come from a place of love and give your people all you got. Well, 100%. And if we are, and I am, and I know you are, and I know everybody that's listening to this at one point, if you're in real estate or whatever for this year, it's been a hard year. You've been discouraged. You've been down on yourself. If you're like me, you probably thought about quitting once or twice, but that's a good thing, right? Ben has told us if you don't feel like quitting every once in a while, you're not going hard enough, you're not pushing hard enough. But to take a step back to your people, to the people, and just say, you know what? I have so much love in my heart for you, and we're going to get through this. And knowing that we're loved, because if I'm discouraged and I don't feel loved, it's game over. And I know all my partners here have people outside of this room that love them more than I do, their spouses, their kids. But I genuinely mean it when I say I love my partners because I show up every day and I care about them and I know they care about me. And if we can come from that place, when they get discouraged, they're going to go, you know what? I'm still going to show up because there's people that care. We got about 12 full time and then about the same as many that are part time. Yeah. 100%. And I've told everybody, I said, look, I'll give you as much as you give back and as much as you give yourself. If you want to get lunch and talk, as long as I see you making your calls, look, we get lunch 3 times a week if you want. You're growing, you're putting in the work, I'll be there for you. If you give up on yourself, then I'm not going to be around quite as much. Yeah. A lot of people are going to tell you they're focused on doubling down on their lead generation. They're doubling down on their lead conversion. They're cutting expenses because winter's coming, and we're doing all that. But the thing that I'm really focused on, Lucas, and the thing that I think we can all focus on is continuing to develop as personal leaders and our personal development. Because you really can't go wrong with that, can you? If we keep growing as people, and now don't get me wrong, we're doing the double down on lead gen, we're doing the double down on lead conversion. We're showing up every single day for scripts, every single day. We are practicing every single day. I'm practicing outside of this. 9 years in business, I'm still practicing. I teach the listing presentations so that I can practice. But at the same time, I got to grow as a person. I got to keep growing as a person. I got to stay more empathetic. I got to stay more graceful. I got to stay calm. So my meditation practice is incredibly important to me right now, especially as I continue to focus and practice my sobriety. So my meditation practice to make sure I'm here, man. I'm here, I'm present, I can hear what you're saying, you can feel my energy, and not if, but when things go wrong, I can keep my stuff together. So personal development and really going inwards within ourselves so that we are the best humans that we can be. What about you, Lucas? I want to hear from you. Well, give me a tip. Isn't that good? Yeah, my dad, he passed away 5, 6, 8, some a while ago. And one of the things that I really learned from my dad, like he was the type of guy when he would walk into a room, I don't care where it was, whether it was him selling cars or on his last days when we had to go to the doctor to get his medication. When he would walk out of that room, more people would be smiling than when he walked in. And I love that about him. My dad wasn't the wealthiest guy. He didn't live the longest. He wasn't the wealthiest or healthiest, but gosh darn it, Lucas, he made people smile. He made people laugh. He made people feel good. And he would be present with people. I could have a conversation with my dad. I could call him anytime and ask him something, and he would just go, "Wow." And now what? And he would be present. But more importantly, when my dad would leave a room, and this is one thing I've always tried to implement. I bring, like Brendan Burchard says, I bring the joy. Like I'm bringing the energy, man. I better shake that room up in a good way because my dad's watching over me right now. If there aren't more smiles in this room when I walk out, I let my dad down. Can't do that. My dad loaned me $500 to get through real estate school. Yeah, yeah, he loaned me $500 because I was like negative $3,000 on my credit card. So a lot of us talk about our net worth. It's grown a little bit because it was negative back then. And my dad had loaned me $500, and I paid him back. I paid him back before he passed, and I'm proud of that. My pleasure. But before I let you go, I'm serious because one thing I took away from Jesse Itzler, Lucas, was we don't just speak, we don't just present because the exceptional presenter says everywhere we go we're presenting. But Jesse performs. And as a musician, that was my takeaway was no, 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 like everywhere we go we're performing. And you are incredibly good at how you spoke on stage. I've seen you speak a couple times now. So leave me with a nugget and our people with a nugget. How do you practice for that? How do you practice for that? And what does your routine look like getting ready for such a phenomenal performance like that? Wow. It shows. It shows, Lucas. It really showed in the way you delivered that. So thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate you letting me ask you a question. What I heard from that is we care. If we get that moment, and I never heard that. Like take the average hourly rate times the people. Like that's a lot. That's a really high number. Yeah, that's smart, man. Thank you for that, Lucas. Thank you. My pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again. Hey, what? I'm with somebody like this. I gotta, pick their brain a little bit too. So thank you, Lucas. I appreciate this time. Have a great rest of your day.